Be the most informed Heat fan on the planet by subscribing to us here at the Heat Report. We are going to update you on anything regarding Damian Lillard. That is the main part of today's show. So let's jump into it and make sure you hit that sub button. All right, this is the Heat Report. I am Nick Roloff, and on today's show, we're talking this man right here. Is a Damian Lillard trade getting closer to being finalized? I don't know, Jim. It's going to be close, but there are some interesting social media posts from Damian Lillard himself that suggest it could get interesting, and it starts with this one where he put this on his Instagram story. He did just release an album. He is a rapper, one of the best NBA rappers to do it, and he was promoting some of the songs, and someone tagged him in a Instagram post, said, "Miami is waiting for you and your music," with some Heat fire emojis, and Damian Lillard reposted it on his Instagram story, and this tells me he's not even hiding it anymore, man. He wants to be a part of the 305. Obviously, he did request a trade and name the Heat as his preferred destination and really only destination. So we know he wanted to play in Miami with Jimmy and Bam, but the more he does things publicly, the more he does things on social media, it will now drive that to being closer of a real potential outcome. And there is another part of this situation, and this one's got my eye emojis on there, and it's this one is the fact he unfollowed the Portland Trail Blazers on Instagram. Don't get got on Twitter, by the way, because there is an account that likes to do a little trolling on the Miami Heat side of things that tweeted out that the Heat have followed, or the Damian Lillard followed the Heat's organization on Instagram. That is not true. I had to make sure to fact check it. But then this happened. Greg Sylvander of 5 Reasons Sports Network, someone who I follow, and I take what he says seriously when it comes to the Miami Heat, because he does have sources and he lives in Miami. He covers them down there. And he tweeted this at 4:10 in the morning on August 20th. That's some late scary hours type stuff right there. He just posted one thing, an emoji, soon. Could it be coming soon? I feel like I'm getting teased right now, and we know this out there. It is never fun to get teased by any sort of situation, if you know what I mean. So this is kind of getting me happy, getting excited a little bit here, and I just want to be serious, though, for this, because we were talking fun, we're talking social media posts in the beginning of the show, but in all seriousness, if Damian Lillard continues to put stuff out there on social media, push him away further from the Portland Trail Blazers organization, make public comments. I know the NBA sent a memo out and kind of warned him about doing public comments, but if he does go the James Harden route, and this is the Portland Trail Blazers front office, goes to Joe Cronin and says something to him specifically that he's going to stir the pot if he's not traded to Miami before training camp, then this trade could actually happen, because if Cronin starts to feel the heat, all pun intended, he might actually run to Miami and start negotiating and getting a real trade negotiation started, and that way we can get Damian Lillard to the Heat sooner rather than later, and we don't have the chaos that could ensue if this does go into training camp and you have players reporting for the Heat, reporting for the Blazers that don't know what their role is going to be on their respective team, because they don't know if they're going to be on the team or if what their role is going to be, especially if you look at it from Portland's side. So be honest with me, and I have to ask you, we've asked this question a lot, but with the new information or the new social post from Damian Lillard, I want to ask you, when will Dame get traded to Miami? Type 1 if you think it's going to be this month. We only have about 11 days left in August, but let me know if it's going to be this month. Type 1. If it's going to be in September. Type 2. If you don't think it's ever going to happen, type your 3s. Hopefully I don't see any of those in the comment section. Now, we're going to talk about bringing back a Heat legend, if you may, in Kendrick Nunn. And he had some good years in Miami, but it ended a little poorly. And it started with this again from Greg Sylvander. He had this little note from 5 Reasons Sports Network. He said Kendrick Nunn appears to really want another shot in Miami, but there doesn't seem to be a plan to sign him right now. And I have a couple reactions to this news for this Miami Heat with potentially bringing back Kendrick Nunn. And one of those quick reactions was the Heat do need a point guard, regardless if Damian Lillard is on the roster or if it's Kyle Lowry being the starting one. Backup point guard is a massive priority for the Heat with the rest of this offseason, because unless you plan on running Josh Richardson as your backup one or having Jimmy Butler and Bam being that ball handler / distributor when Damian Lillard's off the court, you're going to have a real problem running an offense when Damian Lillard is sitting on the bench, or if it's just Kyle Lowry sitting on the bench as well. Number 2 quick reaction on this part is that Kendrick Nunn's Miami ending was rough, and he pointed that out there in the quote that Kendrick Nunn didn't like the way he finished things in Miami, and it makes a lot of sense because if you look at Kendrick Nunn's career stats, he was a rookie in that 2019-20 season, which we're going to look at a little more in depth here in a second, but he played very well to start off his career. 15 points per game, 3.3 assists, 44% from the field, 35% from 3. Comebacks the next year and struggles a little bit. And then in free agency, signs with the Los Angeles Lakers, doesn't play the entire 2021-22 season because of a knee injury, and then this season really struggled for the Los Angeles Lakers before getting shipped out to the Wizards in return for Rui Hachimura. Kendrick Nunn's career has taken a downfall after his rookie season, but that downfall did start in the bubble of that 2019-2020 season. People forget Kendrick Nunn legitimately finished second in NBA Rookie of the Year behind Ja Morant. The Rookie of the Year ladder finished as 1 Ja Morant, Kendrick Nunn, number 2. This is also the same rookie class that had Tyler Hero in it. So Nunn finished above Hero in the Rookie of the Year voting. At number 2, ahead of a player named Zion Williamson as well. Kendrick Nunn had an incredible rookie season. Let's look at that season more in depth. Before the bubble, obviously, COVID 2020 hit, and we had to go in a little bit of a hiatus. But before the hiatus began, Kendrick Nunn was cooking with gas. 15.6 points per game on a nightly basis, 3.4 assists, 2.7 rebounds, while shooting 45% from the field and 36.3% from 3. But then once that hiatus began, and then you come back 3 or 4 months later, and they went into the bubble, in 17 minutes a night, he only averaged 7 points per game, 1.5 assists, 2.2 rebounds, 36% from the field, and 25% from 3. Those numbers were a nightmare, pretty much, for Kendrick Nunn. He was cooking with gas in the regular season, and then once the COVID thing happened and then you go into the bubble, Kendrick Nunn's career really took a downfall from there. I'll give you my answer to this question here in a second, but I want you guys to make the call for me in the comment section. Would you guys bring back Kendrick Nunn to be this team's backup point guard? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know in the comment section. Something you should be typing Y for yes for is this Miami Heat sweatshirt right here, because this thing looks in fuego. And guess what? You can get it for $44 off at our link, chatsports.com/Heat sweatshirt. This deal will not last forever. Mine is on its way. I ordered one itself. I am going to do you guys a favor and put the link in the comments and description of this video, so don't miss out. Fall is just around the corner. Grab your Miami Heat sweatshirt one more time at chatsports.com/Heat sweatshirt. I don't know about this one, Jim. I don't know if I'm willing to bring back Kendrick Nunn. Like I mentioned, it is the biggest priority for me if you look at the current roster and if you look at the roster that trades for Damian Lillard. Is that backup one? Who's going to handle the rock when either Kyle Lowry or Damian Lillard goes to the bench? Because those two will not be on the same roster this upcoming season. I know that for a fact. So when you look at other point guards out there or Kendrick Nunn, what's the best option here? And when I think of what the Heat are going to need in a backup point guard, what it is going to be playmaking / shooting or defense. You can't have someone like Kendrick Nunn who shoots poorly from 3 and is a smaller statured guard that can't defend. You're going to have to bring one of two things. You're either going to have to defend at a high level when Damian Lillard's sitting, because Dame is not a good defender, so you could have a nice change of pace defensive one, or you're going to need someone that when Dame sits can mirror at least a little bit of shooting and shoot above 36-37% from 3. And I don't think Kendrick Nunn checks either of those boxes for me, so that's why I lean somewhere else. And let's look at some other free agent point guards that the Heat could sign. Number 1, could it be Ish Smith? He's an older guy. He's 35 years old. There's not a lot left in the tank for Ish Smith, but it is an enticing option who is someone who's very experienced. Another experienced guard, John Wall. He might be cooked, and I think he is cooked. He doesn't really have a smooth jumper. He's not the best defender, but he does have that veteran experience, and he can surely run an offense and dish the ball. Maybe he gets in good shape and improves his shooting in that Miami Heat culture, in that system, but Wall, probably not an enticing option either. And then in a third point guard, and I'm just bringing out the scrubs of the scrubs at this point. Sorry, Raul Neto. I don't mean to give you a stray like that, but Neto is just not that guy. Undersized, shoots up under 30% from three, not the most talented offensive guy, but he is a scrappy player. He could fit a little bit defensively, but as you see, there aren't many good options in free agency for point guards. So to me, even if a Damian Lillard trade does happen, I think the trade market is the way the Miami Heat are going to have to go to improve that backup one position on this roster. And I have 4 key options that I think could be in play for the Miami Heat, and we'll start with Monte Morris, who is on the Detroit Pistons now. Landry Shamet's on this list, who's on the Wizards after getting shipped in the Bradley Beal trade. Killian Hayes, another Pistons guard, is on this list. And then Patty Mills, who was traded about 5 times in 2 weeks, it seems, like this offseason. But the reason I want to highlight Monte Morris and Killian Hayes is because that Pistons roster has so many point guards. They have the former number 1 pick in Cade Cunningham. They have the former number 4 pick in Jaden Ivey. They also have a first-round pick from this past draft, Marcus Sasser. You have Killian Hayes, who was a former first-round pick, and then obviously Monte Morris. So I just labeled 5 point guards for that Detroit Pistons team that are worthy of playing time. And if you have 5 point guards worthy of playing time, they're not all going to get it, right? Like Killian Hayes, and Monte Morris are going to be put to the woodshed when you think of Ivey and Cunningham running that offense. So if they're running that offense, why wouldn't the Pistons be willing to part ways with one of Hayes, one of Morris, for 1 or 2 second-round picks that the Miami Heat could offer them, and then Morris and Killian Hayes could be your backup point guard to Damian Lillard or Kyle Lowry? I think Morris and Killian Hayes are 2 guys the Miami Heat need to target in this rest of this offseason to improve this Heat roster. But I want you guys to be the GM for me. Who do you want to be the Heat's backup point guard this season? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm intrigued to see what you guys have to say, and I might even do a full video, full 10, 12-minute breakdown of all the potential guys the Heat could trade for. I know I did a little bit there quickly at the end of 4 guys the Heat could go after in the trade market. I can do another breakdown here coming up in a second, and that's why you do subscribe to the Heat Report, because I'm going to bring you the latest Heat news, the latest Heat rumors, trade rumors, all that good stuff. So make sure you join us here at the Heat Report. We're only going to get better and better as things go along here, and we'll keep you informed about your Miami Heat.